Like,
Yeah.
I just hate hearing the word like Papa.
Papa.
Like his daughter says that a lot.
Yes.
She doesn't get much. She kind of gets tossed aside. Like you don't really see much of her later on, do you?
No, she is, she's there to, I guess in the beginning to kind of show you, how averse to risk Kurt Russell's character is.
Yeah.
And she kind of, and Kali even says this, she's more in charge.
Yep.
Paula, the little girl, is more in charge than he is. And you even see, I love that the beginning confrontation between them about the pig.
Oh yeah.
He doesn't want to take the pig. Scarlet is the pig's name. He doesn't want to take the pig. The pig is her pet, and she's demanding that the pig go. And eventually, he tells her to give the pig, to someone, and she says, "Make me."
Yeah.
and you see him run at her, and you think, oh, he's going to snatch her up and put her in the truck and leave the pig behind. And he doesn't. He grabs the pig and puts the pig in the truck.
Yeah, I love that term, "make me." He's like, "Oh man." And she calls him out big. It wasn't fair. But so
Yeah.
when they're flipping over his truck, his daughter's like, "Why didn't you do something?" It's like,
Right.
Kelly McGillis tried to do something and she got pulled into the water by those jerks. So
Yeah.
is Kurt
With a whip around her neck.
Yeah, that was another reason to dislike those people. But
Yeah.
she's like, "Why didn't you do something, Kurt Russell?" And Kurt Russell's like, all right, even if you and I are some of the baddest dudes around, and there's a mob of 30 people with guns, just let them flip your car.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought that was kind of an interesting thing that she said. But I think a young girl probably would ask people that. Why didn't you do anything? Or if you and I are his friends, oh man, why didn't you do anything? Because we weren't there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and she's his daughter, so I mean, in spite of her confrontation with him at the beginning of the movie, he is a hero to her and her only, protection against the world. So she probably legitimately would wonder, why didn't you try to stop him?
Yeah. I guess she hasn't seen all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I guess also there's a scene where Cole pushes Kelly McGillis down. And he goes, "Oh, sorry." Remember that? Like,
yeah.
Like he's like,
"Don't come at me that way."
Yeah, but that's the way the actor said it. He meant it.
Yeah.
That's kind of. Do you think he just gets really drunk and goes over there and runs amok?
I think so. I think he knows that he is out of control, but he doesn't really know how to get, back to it. Like there's a couple of times in that confrontation between him and Kurt Russell in the cabin where he goes off and, he shoots the clock. He throws people around. He breaks something. And then he sits back down and says, "Okay, let's talk."
I don't get you, man. And then he tricks him into running into the water, right? Doesn't he kind of? Yeah, he's like a matador.
He's. How does that happen? Because Cole
was getting snot beat out of him, and then Cole runs at him, and he kind of moves to the side, right?
Yeah, and Cole goes into the water and is shocked by the cold, and tries to come out, and Kurt Russell pushes him back in, and runs into the water himself because, as we already know, he's from Norway and he's accustomed to the cold water. So
he doesn't get that shock, so he's able to deal with these things. But his hands and feet are going to be colder longer. Just so you know that. What do you think about the snow in this movie?
Well, it made for some nice background.
Yeah. Obviously, you can't use real, when they had that fight, that wasn't real snow. But as far as fake snow goes, it looked pretty good. I watched these Christmas movies on Hallmark and Lifetime, and they just spray foam or drape cloth over plants, and it just crushes my soul because it's kind of lazy. Yeah. But this one, I mean, it wasn't sticking to them or anything, but it was good fake snow.
Yeah, it didn't look like wet snow, but it I think it worked pretty well. I mean, it didn't cause me to pay attention to it. And that's how I know that, an effect, which I guess is what you would call that, or setting works for me if I didn't notice that it wasn't real.
Mm-hmm. I didn't notice until Ebert said it, so I'm guilty. He's one of the few people that wrote a review for this movie that you can find.
Yeah.
Yeah, he dogged on it. He compared it to Witness because Kelly McGillis played an Amish widow with a kid who a guy comes out from out of town.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I guess that works.
Yeah.
I mean, it is sort of the same story, except Kurt Russell's a clockmaker and not a detective.
But this was a book first, so you can't say that it ripped off. Do you maybe it was made because of the popularity of Witness?
Maybe.
Yeah.
That's a good question.
Witness was a tough one, though. This movie isn't. Yeah. This is more of a nice little love picture.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know. Any final thoughts about this movie before we... Actually, how about this? I want to do something. What's your top 5 Kurt Russell?
Top 5 Kurt Russell.
I made you rank Bond, so now I'll make you do Kurt Russell.
Yeah, so I got to put. I will say, with all the Kurt Russell episodes I've listened to of of movies, films, and flicks, I have never actually in my head ranked my favorite Kurt Russell.
Oh wow.
Movies. I'd probably start with The Thing.
Oh yeah.
Because I'm a horror fan. You know, I can't help it. I'm gonna put the Carpenter horror movie up top there. So I'd start with The Thing.
This is tough.
It is tough. There's so many.
Because he's been really good in other, like, I mean, I'm not saying like Unlawful Entry belongs up there, but he's also been in some really good movies in the 80s. I mean,
yes,
yeah, Silkwood. Oh man, Used Cars.
I have not seen Used Cars.
Oh, he's amazing in that. Yeah.
Escape from New York.
Oh,
I like Escape from New York. And I have to put Winter People in my top 5.
Oh,
I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure where in the top 5 it would rank, but I have to put it in there because it's just this is one of those movies that I've gone back to, you know, time and again. And if I happen to see it on, you know, that it's on somewhere, I sit down and watch it. Not that it's been on anywhere in the past couple of decades.
Yeah. I did not even know about this. I know it's weird. So I go through his IMDb a lot, and I know about the majority of his films. But for some reason, Winter People, I've just never. I don't know. And this didn't hurt him because he had Tango and Cash in the same year, and then he went on to Backdraft, so he was fine.
Yeah.
And then Captain Ron in '92.
And, all right, and here's another thing, okay?
Yeah.
Captain Ron gets a lot of hate. I loved Captain Ron.
Oh man, it's a great VHS movie. I mean, so it came out when I was 10, and you know, you go out on a boat. That swab kid was drinking beers and fixing boats, and so when you're 10, 11 years old, watching this on VHS, and this kid's getting fake tattoos and having response, it just seemed like a cool movie for a 11, 12-year-old, at least for me.
Yeah, and it's a different role for Martin Short too. It's like it's completely different from anything he had played up to that point. He wasn't a stupid person. He was, you know, he wasn't the comic relief. He was the straight man.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he was.
In Captain Ron.
he was just annoyed at Ron the entire time, and I loved it. Oh man.
Right.
But no, this was a lot of fun, and thanks for recommending this movie to me. I mean, now I got another Kurt Russell movie for my what's the word? Not inventory. Not ammunition. For my, I don't know. I can't think of the word right now. But I've watched another Kurt Russell movie.
Collection.
For my collection. That's never a bad thing. So this is great. Anything you want to plug before we get out of here?
Find me on Twitter at Isaac R. Thorne, and that's Thorne with an E, and that is where I plug most of my stuff. My novel is called The Gordon Place. If you want to check that out, it's my latest thing, and that's me.
All right, cool. Well, this was a lot of fun. Thanks for joining us.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
All right, so for Mark Hoffmeyer and for Isaac Thorne, this is Movies, Films, and Flicks. We'll see you next week.